Hey y'all, I just wanted to push up the mood of something that was giving me over the weekend, and here you go.
Hello, my friends. Today I want to talk about gaps in communication. We had a really frustrating 48 hours with my mother-in-law. She lives in a really wonderful assisted living memory care and is also receiving hospice services from a third party, a different company. And there is a constant management of expectations and communication that happens when you have just human beings involved. And Tuesday, when I went to visit her, it was a pretty routine visit. I went in, she was sitting in her recliner. She was kind of sleepy, but she was up and dressed and occasionally making eye contact with me, offering me a faint smile here and there, but she was kind of sleepy. And then Friday when I went in, at 5:30 in the evening, which I don't know what it is about Friday afternoons, late afternoons, but that seems to be when things start to happen or you notice them or whatever. I cannot tell you how many times we've ended up at the hospital on a Friday afternoon with someone. But anyway, so at 5:30 I go in to see her, and she's in one of the larger wheelchairs. It's like a sit and tilt wheelchair versus just your standard transport chair. And she's still in her pajamas, which is fine, right? Not everybody gets dressed every single day. Like very, very rarely does that happen, but it was different. It was unusual. She was still in her jammies, and she was like asleep, but like clearly uncomfortable. Like her face was sort of pinched up. Her hands were clasped and twisted in a bizarre way. Like she has never really held her hands in that manner. She just had a really steep decline. Really steep. And so the staff came up and they were like, oh my gosh, big changes have happened. And she was comfortable-ish. Like you could see, when I say that, it's like she was clean and, she was safe. She was in the chair. And, but clearly she wasn't comfortable fully. And so I called my husband and asked him, has hospice called you? Like, have they been here? I don't know when they had come last. Because clearly someone ordered that wheelchair. Right? Like you don't just go from having a transport chair to one of those big wheelchairs without a decision being made, a phone call being made, and then obviously it was delivered. Anyway, he had not heard from hospice. So that was of concern to me, because if your loved one has had a significant decline, which in my estimation from Tuesday to Friday, just what I was seeing was so different, that requires a phone call. There should have been a phone call. And so we started this like flurry of conversations and communication. The team member who had been helping her that day said, I think we need to order the hospital bed because she's just been in like a cute little normal double bed. And a hospital bed just is so much easier once a person gets to a certain point for them to be able to, for you or team members to be able to take care of them, get them up, get them in and out. Also, they get to a point where maybe they can't get out of bed, which is not ideal, but it happens, right? As our bodies start to fail. And so they can raise up the hospital bed so that they can feed them. So I offered to my husband, it's time to ask for a hospital bed. And I could just feel the frustration because like hospice didn't call him and tell him that there had been a big change. The big change had occurred, I think, so quickly And we didn't hear from the building either, which the protocol is hospice would call us to talk to us about it. Well, it turns out that Thursday, the nurse that came to see her was not her normal nurse. It was a different nurse. So she didn't really have the bench line or baseline, that her condition had significantly changed. She just showed up and thought, oh, this woman is maybe not in very good shape and she could use some different equipment. And that's wonderful. But not having that same nurse who would have seen her earlier in the week. And then obviously she has had a big change. So needless to say, he called them hospice. He ordered the hospital bed. The nurse from the building also called to say they felt like they needed a slightly different chair because the one that she is in is not wipeable. And she's incontinent, so it's just better to have something that isn't like a fabric-y kind of material. So we were able to make sure Friday night that she was in bed and comfortable to the best of what the tools we had in place. And so Saturday morning, when I got over to the building, the bed had been delivered, and so they needed us to clear the other bed out. But the executive director was manager on duty, so I just explained that it was just really frustrating that we just hadn't heard from anybody. Like, she had clearly experienced a decline and we had not heard from anybody. And so we were just trying to piece together the events over who was where when. And this, I'm telling you, these team members are incredible. They're amazing. They're taking such great, loving care of her. And so I'm not exactly sure whose responsibility it was to reach out to us. But we just know that we missed someone didn't call. Like, we needed a phone call. The other thing that, as we were meeting with the hospice nurse, she's like, my mother-in-law's barely opening her eyes. And so for the family member, even as a professional, when you're a family member, it just feels very alarming. And I was grateful that she was very calm, like just did not allow our kind of agitated energy to stir her up. She was very calm and reassuring and said, I just want to make sure that they have everything on deck, on hand that they need. We know that morphine was already in the building. So we gave her that first lowest dose. And just as a reminder, morphine does not accelerate the dying process. It's a pain relief and anxiety relief medication for many people. For some people, it doesn't work. So I really loved that after giving her that first dose of morphine, the nurse hung out because she wanted to see how she was going to respond to it, how her body was going to do with it. So we got the first dose of morphine going, and she was definitely like still fidgety and kind of on alert. But it's like her wincing or her face was not as pinched up. So we deemed it worth trying a little bit longer to see if that will be a good option for her for pain relief. So I just wanted to share with you that my demeanor, my energy I clearly was a little bit frustrated, but I did not yell at the floor staff, right? Because they had everything that they could use to care for her in that moment. and they were using every tool they had. They advocated for her. They said it's time for the hospital bed. And so I was really grateful for that. They were patiently helping her and feeding her. And so that was really wonderful. I was really grateful for that. And I didn't yell at the executive director. I just asked when I went in if I could speak with her, and really from a place of confusion and just curiosity and a desire to have better communication. We just hashed through kind of what the last 48, 72 hours looked like, to piece together the parts of where there was room for improvement with communication. Like there was room for improvement with communication with the hospice team and with the building. And also just really acknowledging that this happened very quickly. So sometimes just to let you know, things are like fine until they're not. Like things work until they don't. So, the fact that we are able to be in the building so often allows us to also have those eyes and ears on her. And I recognize that, like, I had so many residents that, like, we went in one day and they were relatively fine, so to speak, for living in a nursing home and doing their thing. And then they would pass away. I mean, people die. Like, that's how this works. And so to have her have such a steep decline so quickly, like nothing had gone wrong with her. Like her body, her disease process has progressed and things have just changed. We're just in new territory with her. So I just wanted to reassure you that you can have these conversations with the building, with the company, with whomever it is, in a manner that is productive and helpful, and that's not inflamed and triggered and freaking out. Because everybody's goal is to take care of Sherry. That's it. Like, that's what we're here for. This is what we're doing together. And I need them. I need the people in the building to take care of her. And of course, they're going to do it, whether I yell at them or not. I just know from being on both sides of that situation, most of the time, if a family member was yelling about something, it's from a place of sadness and fear, right? So being able to be in a position of feeling sad, feeling anxious, but also be able to just have a conversation with the team was so incredibly valuable. And yesterday was just, it was kind of a hard day. It was a hard day, like taking the other bed out. My husband, his brother, and I were there. We got her new bed fixed up. We're waiting for the hospice nurse. We kind of don't know what these next few days are going to be like. And our goal, our promise is to keep her comfortable and safe and to take care of her best we can. And that's what we're doing. So I just wanted to share that with you. I know 1,000% that the coaching I have had helped me to really navigate that in a way that I feel really good about and proud of. So I hope that you are finding yourself doing pretty well. Of course, it is mid-April. We just had Easter, big, beautiful family event. And our daughter graduates in 4 weeks. So we have these big swings in emotions right now. And it's life, and I'm just soaking it up. I hope you are too. I love you. You are doing a great job. You are doing a great job. We're all operating at the speed of information, and we're all doing the best we can. So give yourself a hug, do something to take care of yourself, and again, know that I love you. Bye.